everyone, and happy Friday. Welcome to the last activity of color exploration this week. I just want to say that I've had an amazing time exploring colors with you all. The activities have been amazing, and watching my coworkers do other activities has been amazing as well. I hope you all enjoyed it. So this morning, you heard a story of Little Blue, Little Yellow by Ashley W. and talked about mixing and friendship and what colors you can make. And she also extended it on different colors that you can make out of red and yellow and blue and yellow and blue and red. So today I'm going to kind of go over that too. Last night I froze 4 blocks of colors in ice, well, water, which turned into ice. So you don't have to have something this big. If you have just a little ice tray, you can actually use little bowls. You can use containers. You can use a lot of things to freeze stuff. And then I used food coloring to dye them. Besides this one, I didn't have red, so I used Pedialyte to make red. So if you have kind of like a juice, you could also dye that too. So we are going to do kind of like a sensory mixed with a science experiment today. So I have my blue. I'm going to put it right here. You can use any kind of tray. You can use a bowl. I used a clear one so that you guys can see it. And you can kind of see the colors change through it. But you can use pretty much anything. You can use a tray, or you can go outside with something when it's sunny. And then this looks kind of orange, but it is yellow. So we're going to put those in there. So we have our little blue and our little yellow. I'm kind of skating around because they're probably going to start melting. So part of this idea is really just what you would like to do with them. So something that I do in my classroom as a sensory and science experiment is melting ice in the sensory table or in little bins at the table. And we explore different ways to melt it. One way is the sun. You can maybe leave it out there and see if the sun will melt it. But I was going to leave it up to you guys and see if you can kind of find things in your house in order to melt them. One thing that we do in the Wonder Room is when we melt ice is we use salt. So you can use any kind of salt. You can also get the kind of Himalayan salt. It's kind of bigger, but this is just a little idolized salt. And what you can do is you can use a spoon. So this can be preschoolers, toddlers can use their fine motor skills to use the spoon. Infants can also do this. They can practice their fine motor by scooping. I also laid down a tablecloth because watercolors sometimes stain. So to help protect my table and stuff, I put that down. So that might be a little helpful. And then in this one, so if you guys can see, it's kind of, it doesn't look like it's melting yet, but it's on there. And then in this one, I did warm water mixed with salt. So this is another way to practice fine motor skills, is get a little pipette. You have to practice squeezing the top and getting the water in there. And then you can place it on top of the ice cubes and see if it will melt. I wonder if I would have used really hot water, if it would have melted faster. This one's kind of just warm room temperature water with some salt. You can kind of see the colors melting though. You see them at the bottom? I see green. Do you guys see the green? Oh, it's turning green. Like when little yellow and little blue hugged, they turned green. Okay, another idea, this can be for infants, toddlers, preschoolers, any age, you can use a paintbrush. And you can use the water with salt. And you can also paint the ice and see if it will melt. I wonder if it will turn my water blue. The salt is really sticking on these too. It's not coming off. Paint it and paint it. Another idea I like doing is one of my favorites, spray bottles. And I know kids in the Wonder Room love our little spray bottles. I put a little warm water in this, and you can actually spray the ice cubes, and see if that works. That one's really fun, a lot of fine motor. Infants, you might need to help them with this. Toddlers, they can start practicing their fine motors, and preschoolers as well. All in there. Look at the green at the bottom. I wonder if you move it around if it will melt it. Lots of different ways you can experiment with it. And these are pretty big ice cubes, so you can also do one of those bigger ice trays, and you can make multiples of them and kind of see how they react together as little ones. But that's pretty cool. I also had tongs, because this is something fun. One challenge I have for you is to look in your kitchen or your house for other manipulatives that you can use to either, maybe you can scoop this up, stack it on top, see what they do. You can use the tongs to get the salt out. I don't know if it would work with water. Just a little bit. That's also fun. I thought this would be fun. I don't know if these will fit in here, but we can try. Almost. But if you have a bigger vase, you can stack them on top of each other. Or if you have smaller ice cubes. And see what happens to the colors blending while they're standing on top of each other. So, like Ashley W did, she extended little blue and little yellow into different colors of the primary colors to make other colors. So like I said, so blue and yellow make green, and I have green. Look at that. I just made a green. But you can mix. And you can always dump this out and restart. I'm just gonna put them all together. And then this, it looks kind of pink. It's supposed to be red, but like I said, I didn't have red food coloring, so I used Pedialyte. So it kind of was a little more pink, but if you had red food coloring, you can make it a little darker. But it's a secret. Something that's really cool is food coloring is edible, and so is Pedialyte. So if you freeze a juice, this can go for any age group, even adults. But something toddlers like to do and infants that are experimenting and stuff is they're going to want to eat it. And this is totally okay to eat. You might not like it if you have the salt on it. I mean, you might if you like salty things, but you can lick this. You can try it. It's just water and food coloring or a Pedialyte. So you can kind of test it out and see what does it taste like. Maybe if you do lick it like a popsicle, will it melt faster? And then my other one is, this might get a little cold. Your hands might get a little chilly, and it is kind of chilly outside today, but I think it makes for a fun experiment. If you rub your hands together, it's supposed to make friction, and your hands can get warmer. So what if you rubbed them together, and then you picked one up, and you try to melt it that way? Do you think that would work? And you can feel it. What does it feel like? It's kind of rough, a little sharp. Not sharp enough to cut me, but it is rough. Very solid. Very solid. It's cold. Kind of fragile. I feel like if I dropped it on the floor, it would probably break. Or if I dropped it in here, it might break because this is glass. But maybe if you have more of a sturdy container, you could drop like little ones and they'd probably break. But I wouldn't recommend doing it in a glass one. I still like the skating part because I think it kind of helps it melt. It's pretty cool. And then last, one of the things you can do with this, when all of these ice cubes are melted, which might take a couple hours, depending on all the things you do to experiment to try and melt it. That's fun, I have green hands now. You can use this as a little water table for maybe animals or things to float. You can experiment with floating and sinking. You can just play with it. You can put soap in it and make some soap bubbles with the colors. I mean, the possibilities are endless. You can try different colors. You can see if you can experiment with different colors. You can do different trays and see the colors that you make up, and then maybe combine them all and see if you can make brown. But this one right now is just making straight green. I think with the green right here and the blue and the yellow mixing together, the green is pretty powerful. But I am so excited to see what you guys come up with. It might take a couple hours to freeze your ice cubes. If you want to speed up the process and you already have frozen ice cubes in your freezer, you can just take some watercolors or food coloring if you want it to be edible. And you can put all the ice into a container, and then you can just plop the food coloring into it, and it will dye the ice cubes. And then when it melts, all the colors will come together. So you have two options. You can either dye it in a tray and wait a couple hours, or you can just use ice that's already melted. I'm so excited. I had so much fun with you guys this week. I am so excited to move into our animal exploration next week. And I hope you guys have fun with this and can't wait to see all your ideas. Bye, guys.